Okay. First order of business before we get started is Joanne no longer wants to be recording secretary. So,
I said I didn't.
Yes, you did. So I think we need a nomination for a new recording secretary. Do we have any nominations?
Nominate Sue-Ann.
Not just about.
Volunteer, Sue-Ann.
Whoever can do it for the rest of
You willing to take that on, Sue-Ann?
Yeah, Brenda, you don't need no letter.
Okay, all right. So Sue-Ann will be There's been a lot of back and forth about this. We have some votes already that we took online.
Were they printed online?
They were printed online. You never got one?
So everybody.
All right. Does anybody have a printed copy of
No,
it? Sue-Ann, do you have a printed copy of the
Well, there's minutes and there's amendments, and
Yeah.
then there's requests to redact certain information and corrections. So I don't know that there's going to be a good way to do this in the public square here. But if you want to do that, that's fine too. You want to go there, but without people looking at them, it's going to be hard for them to make educated opinions.
If there's some way that we can put that off, let's do it, okay? Because there has been a lot of controversy about the minutes and the amendments. So let's move on to the next item, which is the financial report. Ellen, are you ready for that?
Sure. And it was posted online, David, yes?
Yes.
Okay, so the second quarter, we started the general fund with $29,971.32. We brought in membership dues in the second quarter, $481.05. We sold 2 bikes that were earmarked for the Island Fest that was canceled due to COVID. Somebody had donated 2 bikes. So right. We contacted them. They have said, fine, you can sell them. If we do another, we just felt like to keep them, they would just rust. They need to be out. They will donate again if we have another one, but we sold those for $500. Then we had a donation of $50 for a memorial to someone, phone book sales of $10. So the total income was $1,041.05. Expenses were $1,222 for insurance, printing of the newsletter, $334.67, and a road donation to the fire department of $15,000. That total expense was $16,556.67, and our ending balance in the general fund is $14,455.70, and that is of June 30th. Now, the Island Access Fund had $101,313.12. It brought in a whopping $2.52 in interest. They are not playing the game anymore. I played the game for a while, like threatened to take it out and back and forth. And for a few months, we made $1,000 some, but we're not doing it anymore. So there's nothing to be had with that other than what it's drawing. And the ending balance is $101,315.64. The community center fund started with $5,404.54. It has interest of 14 cents in the 3 months, and that is ending balance of $5,404.82. So actually, okay, so yeah, I don't have the total, but of all 3. Those are the accounts that we have.
Okay, and we talked about making you a signatory on the account.
Exactly.
All right. Tell us the process.
Okay, so the process is the minutes come in.
From your little meeting.
From the last meeting, from the board meeting we had, and then I was designated, Rich and Jackie and I, to work on trying to get liberation of the community center fund of three people that started that community center fund are no longer on island. They are the signatories on the account. And so the board has appointed the three of us to do something. Rich and Jackie appointed me to be the signatory. We have the minutes. When those get printed out, when I get a concrete minutes letter come from Jackie, I can go to the bank and make an appointment with a banker I know over there, and she will put me on the account as signatory.
And that has to be signed by both Rich and I.
Yes.
Okay. All right. And it has to be on.
It has to be on letterhead.
UCCA letterhead.
Yes.
David, if you could get us one sheet of the UCCA letterhead stationery. You have that, right? Okay.
If we got to have the minutes. I'll print them on letterhead.
Oh, all right. And also we need
When
the
we get
blank
them
sheet
through.
that Rich and I have
They
to
can
sign.
sign it, right.
Okay. All right. Does anybody have any? Go ahead.
No, I was gonna say, are there any questions on any of that?
Anybody have any questions for Helen? Any discussion? Okay. Do we need a motion to approve the financial report?
Motion to approve.
Second. All in favor?
Aye.
Okay.
Jackie, before we go further, can we just for the minutes?
I vote present.
Right, so we're gonna on
Who's
that vote. On that
Bill
vote, that's
Fry.
Bill Fry.
All right.
Oh, you-
So-
okay.
Go ahead. Go ahead, David.
So we need to record who's here, who's not, because we have so the membership knows, people on the phone know who are here and who is not present for the minutes.
Okay.
Well, I mean, it's not here, but so Jackie is here, Rich is here, Swin's here, David's here, Sue Ann's behind me, Joanne and Helen are here, Bill Fry's on the phone, and Aaron is not present.
Aaron is not present. Okay.
Thank you. Sorry.
All right. We don't need to identify all the people that are online, but how many would you say, David?
I'm recording the names 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, including Bill.
13. Oh, yeah. Okay. Next on the agenda, the fire district update. Chief Dennison, do you have anything for us?
We had 82 calls so far this year. We're up quite a bit from last year. No one had to get blown off. Everything's good.
Does anybody have any questions of Chief Dennison about anything to do with fire department business? Bill?
Oh, no, I just want to add to that, to Mike Swinford and David Bowlby, our sincere thanks for the fundraiser that you guys put together. To AJ's not here, to help out with the Access Way Maintenance Committee. The funds that we expended for the tractor and its accessories have been met and will be put back into our budget. And thank you very much. It was an excellent effort. Much appreciated. Now the president's been set, we know who to go to.
Well, team effort. Started with Rich,
Well,
with UCCA and
I
AJ.
do.
So.
You probably raised more money than anybody other than Joanne, and quick. So, and a lot easier than what we do, knocking on doors.
It's good to see the community respond.
Yeah.
We're going to need more in the future,
And
right?
just to let you know, the tractor's in use now. They've been using it, doing the set on the north end over here. And it's working out well. It's a very good piece of equipment.
So just to kind of follow through with that, so there were emails sent to the fire district email subscriber list. There was a Facebook posting, and there was an email sent to the UCCA list of 525 people that are on the UCCA's email subscriber list. And all that pointed back to the fire district's website fundraising page where they're able to give online, and 39 people donated to that cause. And in 3 days, we raised $18,000. So it gives you a feel for the speed of what that was. So that really, in my mind, reflects the community support for a big need, which is what we will call roads, the access ways, right? And so, and again, thanks to AJ and Fire District as well, because they've done the right thing to generate the confidence that people have that they're doing the right things to keep the access ways safe. I appreciate that.
David, just add to that, please. Last evening, AJ sent me a couple of photos that someone had taken and sent to him of East Sierra Lane. And apparently it held up extremely well with all the floodwaters. Unfortunately, it's only one of a small handful of roads that did. But what it does do is shows the scope of what we have ahead of us, which is a heck of a lot. There are lakes all over the island. This is what, 5 days after the storm. I have reached out to our constituents at FGCU, and they're already looking at photos that we sent them, trying to come up with some more ideas. If any of you or anybody here took any photos immediately after or anytime since the storm, please send them to me. I'm organizing them, I'm sending them on to professors. I just need to have them properly labeled, not look in front of my house or here's a pond, intersection of Coral Circle and Bartlett Parkway, or Rum Road and Cutlass facing north, things like that, so they can overlay it and figure it out. Obviously, in addition to road maintenance, there's now also major drainage issues which have to be addressed. And even if there was a puddle or a lake by your house that's now dried up, they still want a shot of it dried up because they need to look at the soil. This is all well above my pay grade or understanding, but they seem to know what to do. And that does include the Big Safe Harbor Club. Even if they take care of their own roads, it also can help with flood patterns and water.
I'd like to flooding, and they have, some of them have a lot of pictures. You will be getting them.
Okay.
I asked them for them, and you will be getting them. And I walked around Safety Harbor. The worst one there was the road going down to the pool. That little, path that goes down to the pool was almost covered. I took a picture of that. But other people, like Georgia, you may have one from your side of the island too. I don't have those. I couldn't get over there.
Okay. Anything else on the road update? Okay. Moving on to the next topic, board initiative updates. A is Island Fest and Access Ways. Joanne?
Yes, well, tentatively, speaking to Erin, she mentioned at the last meeting, we probably will be having another Island Fest in the fall. I want to wait until the locals start coming back that work with me, and we'll be working on that. But it's a working process. As far as the Access Ways, I just talked about those.
Yes. I think we could incorporate the 100-year anniversary into the Island Fest.
Probably, yeah.
Some kind of a big affair on
That's
the island.
that's what we're doing.
Well, our 100-year
Yeah.
anniversary.
I'm going to talk to Brian about, over there, because
I
that's the
think that's
best
the
place.
21st of October. That we could play.
Probably, I think,
25th. Okay.
25th.
I wasn't there, so.
No, that's,
Okay.
I was shocked.
I have to talk to Erin because she brought it up the last time, but because I've done it several times before, and it was one of the biggest fundraisers we've had, that and the fashion show.
Any other questions of Joanne? All right, moving on. Next topic is website communication. David, that's you.
So the report I'll touch on is on the website. Ironic, isn't it? So you can see it there if you want to, if you miss anything, but I did want to cover these things for those who are here. The activities that have been going on with communications. First thing is that I updated our UCCA logo that was on the website, and the email template, the thing that gets sent out for these notices that we send out to everyone, and the email footer on some of the other things to reflect what Dave Tompkins and others had initially set as the logo for UCCA back a long time ago. As we began and separated our website from the fire district website some years ago, his computer had crashed, and so we didn't have the original files. And so I took it to develop a new logo. That logo didn't have exactly the same fonts and look as what he had done. And so he had requested that I make an update to that to reflect back the way it was. And so I addressed it with the board. You guys said, go for it. Just if it costs a lot of money, tell us. And it didn't. So I had Teresa my wife, reach out to a graphic designer and redo the logo back to remove the periods between UCCA, change the font to what it was. And so what you see on the header of many things that go out on our website reflect that. So I did reach out to Dave just to let him know that, we don't want to discount anything that was done in the past in any way. And so, and again, it didn't cost anything but a little bit of effort and coordination. So we did that. So that's, hopefully you'll see that. It's not a big change. It's not huge, but it is more about it of honoring.
Sorry, did you say you did reach out?
I haven't yet. No. I will. I'll let him know.
Because he is in Shell Point. He lives locally. I have all his information.
No, believe me, I have his email address. He's emailed me several times over the years about the difference in quantity. So I'll touch on the other things that have been done on the website briefly. Added weather widgets, little weather things to the main website page. So, for example, in this last weather event, you can actually go and see the current weather forecast, but you also see a live radar there. So you can go there to see the winds and the lightning and all the storms that we might see, or even on a nice day. So you can see those things that's been added. We added a town hall forum banner to the middle of the web page. There's a banner that goes across the page that is a link to a page of its own for what we're calling town hall forums. The first one of those was a town hall forum that we had with the Sheriff's Department that Swin hosted. We did a video Zoom recording. So that page, that will have a list and a video of all of the town hall forums that we did. If you have interest in that, you should go look at it and see, because it was a 2-hour Zoom call in which Lieutenant Sawicki touched on a lot of common items that are troublesome on the island about golf carts and I don't know, all the hot button issues. He talked about all of it, and he was very prepared, very forthright. And if you go to that recording, I know it sounds like, oh, smokes, I got to look through 2 hours of that. Bill Fry went in and actually gave me the times where each topic started, and I indexed that below it so that you can just, if you're interested about golf carts, for example, you can click on the link and it'll go right in the video to the place where golf cart starts, so that you can hop around and just look at the things you're interested in. So that pattern is going to be followed for the other town hall meetings that are done about these common types of issues. And Swin will talk more about his intent on town halls, but those recordings, indexing and posting, so that you all can, after the fact, if you don't have a chance to go see them live, you can see them, things about island interest and information coming from those sources, like Lieutenant Sawicki about those things. I did fix an issue with the email subscription on the website. There was a time some software got updated that caused it not to work as it should. That didn't affect anyone that had subscribed over time, but as new ones came in, we had to correct that. I will say that brings to mind, if you think you are subscribed, if you've gone on the website or you're a member, you should be getting emails about these meetings. This meeting, for example, you should have got an email that said, hey, this meeting's coming. Here's how you get when it's happening. Here's where the documents are. If you're not getting those, please let me know. Because what seems to be occurring in a couple different things. One, the emails could be going to a junk folder. And also another one that I dealt with Chief Martin is that his Gmail account actually was putting it into a thing like it was from a solicitor, and it wasn't. So again, if you're not getting those emails, just make sure you check that, because there's a lot of communication that goes out that keeps everybody up to date. For example, the email went out about the Island Road starters shutting down for this storm. Things like that. This last time I did produce videos from the Zoom meetings of general membership meetings and that sheriff's town hall. And we posted them to the website so you can see them if you don't get to see it live. You can also go back and, like I said, with the town hall forum. And they also posted to the UCCA YouTube channel for all you people that like YouTube. We have our own YouTube channel. So all those videos are out there as well. So you can subscribe to that. Anytime a new one goes out there, it'll say, hey, there's a new video out there from UCCA. So it'll keep you up to date as well. And the YouTube channel is actually used. So the general membership meeting that we had 8 people viewed that one. That Sheriff's Town Hall had 21 views. So 21 people watched part of that video, some part of it, with a total of about 3.5 hours of watch time. So they actually, it seemed to be of interest right after the meeting. When people missed it, they said, holy smokes, I missed it, but it was all there. That was good. A quick membership update. There's 146 member households active right now in UCCA, 146. There are 64 of those are subscribed to the electronic newsletter as opposed to the paper mailed newsletter. So it's about half and half. 24 of those records of those 164 and 46 already have updated their house name. We've asked if you go and update your profile to include that house name, because that helps us to know and put it like we might know this person, but we don't know where we know where they live. And when we hear pocket full of shells, we don't know whose that is. Now, if we put that there, we get it. There were 21 first-time members in 2021 this year to date. So 21 new members, never having, this is not renewal, these are first-time members since first year. 92 member households of those 146 have actually accessed their online account in 21. That means they've logged in to look at member content, for example, because there's special stuff there that only members get. The board meetings, minutes, videos, and such as that, and special other things for the members only. So if you, again, haven't logged in, you should do that and see what else is there for you and have access to that special content for members. But 92 have done that, so quite a few have. The club members, I was interested in UCCA, what clubs, quote unquote, clubs like NCIC or Safety Harbor are people indicating they're members of? What's the balance of UCCA? Do they comprise more of NCIC, or are they more of Safety Harbor, or none? And so when I did that lookup, it says that 24 of those 146 are not associated with any club, or at least haven't put that in the system. They said none. NCIC, there's 49. In Safety Harbor, there's 30. And then the remainder of those, if you add those up, it doesn't total 146. Those have not selected that they're a member of any club. It's hard to tell, but you can just see it's kind of, again, a near balance of NCIC and Safety Harbor, and then those that are not affiliated. So it's just interesting, not that we have to do something about it, but just to know, we need to know our membership so we can properly serve them, in my opinion. Knowing about that is helpful. And the last thing is that email subscribers to the UCCA subscriber list. There are 525 people subscribed to that email list. That means every time I send out something to say, hey, there's this event on Island, hey, there's this thing going on, hey, there's this giving opportunity, 525 people should get them immediately. So again, if you think you're subscribed and you're not getting that, or you're a member and you're not getting that, please let me know. That's all.
Okay, awesome. Does anybody have any questions of David? Georgia?
It's interesting on the breakdown of numbers. Do you have a breakdown of members that rent their homes out versus non-renters?
Yes. So we have not in the member. The information comes from the member profile where people sign up initially, and we only allocated certain fields at the time that made sense, like I own my home, or I'm and that kind of thing. But renting only would not really. It's not a selection yet. It's something we could possibly do as a survey online, but we don't currently have it as a, somewhere people would say, yes, I rent, or no, I don't. That's a good idea, because that's important. That's an important thing too. So let me make a note. We'll talk about it, about if we can add. It's easy to add. It's just more how to get people to update.
David, maybe we need to send that out as it's changed so much, the website, and it's really everything you've done. It's great. The updates they're fabulous. But maybe we need to send something out to people and let them know, hey, this has been updated, and maybe you want to go in as a member and update all of your information now.
Right. So we could do that again, because
Yeah.
we did that like probably 6 months ago.
Yeah.
I think we sent out one like, here's the updates, and here's the new stuff, and ask them to do this stuff. So we'll do another reminder. Good idea.
Any other questions of David? Anybody online have any questions? Okay. Moving on to the next topic, road signs. That's me. We have gone around the island. We've made a list of signs that have to be pulled completely and replaced, signs that can be touched up in place, and signs that really don't need any work at all. They might not. But there are 3 new signs that have to be prepared. It's just kind of too hot to paint outside right now, so we'll put the actual painting off for a while until it gets cooler. We can actually cool weather. We have a committee all ready to go. We have our paint, we have our brushes, and we anticipate we can do it all in a couple of weeks. It is a long process, but we will start it as soon as we can sit outside and not swelter. Anybody have any questions about the signs? Go ahead.
3 new ones. I was thinking that you were going to do 5 new ones at the end of the 5 streets in Inland. On the big end of Jose's Highway.
Jose's Highway.
And, you know, Escondido, Hodgepodge, Hidden, Oro Pesos, Sierra.
We can put, we had originally said 3, but we can certainly add 2 more.
Well,
just get 2 more signs.
Also,
All right.
Also, we want to update the old ones.
well, I know, and
Here's the
I
main roads.
assumed that the 3 that Jackie specifically mentioned were signs that were in such bad shape.
Yeah, that they either got knocked down by parts or
Right.
something.
A lot of them.
But then there are 5 that it was suggested that at the beach end of those 5 streets, it would be helpful.
That'll be last though.
Oh, okay. Well, I was out and it was getting dark and there was a homeowner, but he hadn't spent a lot of time here. And he was asking me, what street is this? I can't find my way home. So,
Actually, we could do those first before we get to, the ones that are up are all legible. I mean, they do what they're supposed to do.
Yeah.
They tell you what street it is, okay? So we could add the 5 that need to be added, Jose's Hideaway, before we get on to repairing the others.
I'll leave that to your discussion. I thought I would mention that incident.
Yeah, that's a good point. So maybe we'll work on those first. Any other questions on that topic? Bylaws changes. That's next on the agenda. That's Bill. We have, I should point out, 3 dates set up to go through the bylaws and make whatever changes we as a board feel are necessary. Bill, is there anything that you want to say about the bylaws at this point?
Yes. The 3 meeting dates are posted. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Yes, absolutely.
The 3 meeting dates are posted on the website. They're the 31st of July at 12 to 3 p.m. The 21st of August, 12 to 3 p.m. 25th of September, 12 to 3 p.m. The 3 meetings are set up to, I've proposed the bylaw changes to be grouped into 3 groups. The first group is the first meeting, and the idea there is to talk about and hopefully agree on changes that should be non-controversial, that identify things that the UCCA is currently doing but aren't in the bylaws. An example of that is that 9 years ago when the bylaws were updated, the secretary's position was divided into 2, recording secretary and communicating secretary, and neither one of those 2 positions are described in the current bylaws. The second meeting and the second group is to discuss about creating processes to describe the resignation, replacement, and length of term processes for replacement board members appointed by the board until the next election. The third is to create processes where the membership decides to terminate a board member for cause or any other reason, rather than the current process that lets a board majority make that decision on their own. Any questions about either what the three groups are, where the two documents are posted on the UCCA website, or what those three meeting dates are to discuss?
I know that you had an email and I can refer to that, but the second group, just give a quick summary of the second and third group. I'm put it in a minute.
The second group that I proposed was to create processes that describe the resignation, replacement, and length of term processes for board members who are appointed by the board until the next election, as well as eliminating any ambiguity at the April board meeting concerning what constitutes an official meeting with votes, and to clearly state that meetings and votes don't occur via email in accordance with Robert's rules. Is that the detail that you wanted, Sue Ann?
You broke up so badly, I didn't get it all. But we got a bad connection.
David.
Does anybody have?
As a reminder, those three meetings are open. As a reminder, those three meetings are open to members as well for them to discuss their concerns. Anyone that has any additions that they would like to be posted into the document, whether they're members or board directors, all they have to do is email them to me. My email address is on the website. That's all I have.
Bill, on those three meetings, they are open to the public, but not for any discussion. That needs to, correct? I mean, they can send in prior anything, and we will bring it up and discuss it for sure. But those meetings are not open for discussion to the public, only open for viewing.
If any member asks to make a comment during the meeting, I will, of course, suggest that be allowed, but that's a board majority decision at each instance, according to our agreements from the April BOD.
Anything else for Bill? David?
So just help me to clarify if I'm wrong, but just so the membership understands, the documents that Bill posted with our suggested bylaws changes, his suggestions and others that have been used. Now, this is a starting place for the discussion. It is not what we're telling you all is going to happen. It's the starting place for a discussion amongst the board to start, and with input from you all, as Bill just suggested, if you have concerns. As I understand the process within our current bylaws, to change those bylaws after all the sausage is made, so to speak, to actually try to propose something to the membership has to approve those. So it's not an autonomous something we're going to do and jam it down your throat. It's an effort to start the conversation and get these things cleaned up, because there were a lot of things that haven't been addressed that need to get clarified. Because in my mind, as a board, we're operating to serve you under those guidelines, like those agreed guidelines. Here's how we're going to do and how we're going to do it. So that's important. We understand that and that they're accurate. Because right now, some cases they're not, and we need to get that. So that's the goal. So the goal is just to start. It's a starting place. So if you read those and you see something in there that concerns you, don't flip out, because that's not set in stone. That's the suggested starting place for a discussion.
Is that clear on the website? Did you put the proposed bylaws on the website?
Yes, the same documents we talked about.
Okay. All right. Swing, go ahead.
Yeah, just real quick to put it out there, the proposed bylaw changes and that whole process, it's very important for membership to be involved. So you should go look at those documents now, start kind of going through them, note what you agree with, what you disagree with, because this is your organization. It's not our organization, right? And so that's going to dictate how, the organization is run. And it's just a normal process to update the bylaws. Historically, UCCA has updated them approximately every 4 years. It's been 8 to 9 years since they've been updated. So it's just time to look at them and discuss processes. Look, this board, we're going to be divided Some people are gonna be like, the process as is fine. Others are gonna be like, no, we don't like this process. So that's what it's about. It's discussing it in front of membership. Let's find the best path forward for the overall organization. So stay involved.
May I make a comment to your comment? I was the one that pushed the 2012. There's never been a, oh, we're going to update every 4 years. 2012.
I didn't say that.
Oh,
I said on average, it has been updated.
We don't even need an average.
Well, you can look at the updates.
I'm in favor of changing bylaws, but let me just make a comment. I happen to have been the one that pushed 2012 because I wanted to include the possibility of online election in December rather than that you had to be physically there at the meeting. So and that was the motive for the change. Okay, that was all.
I'd like to say something too. Since then, the population of the island has changed greatly, and as such, the opinions. So it is time for a change and update.
Georgia?
So did the UCA have a bylaw committee that came up with these projected changes, or is it just arbitrarily, this is the agenda and this is what we're going to do?
Bill Fry came up with the proposals on his own.
As the board, basically, the board said, so, you know, who wants to do this? And Bill said he would do it, and we all agreed that Bill could go ahead and make proposals and yeah, so
then we discuss it.
And then yes, and then we discussed it, and so these 3 meetings are set forth to address all of those proposed. Like David said, they're not changes. They're just where we need to start, where we need to go next. And again, those 3 dates that are set. If you think there's something that needs to be put in there, you should go on the website and put your input in there so that we can discuss it.
Anybody else? Okay. Dust control, access way, equipment, Rich.
Yeah, we noticed last summer that we had a severe dust problem on the island with the roadways with all that extra off-car traffic and the dry season dryness. So we came up with an idea to put a product down on the roads that'll suck moisture out of the air and bind up the fines and keep the dust on the road instead of in the air. By the time we got the product over here, it was already mid-May, and we knew that by June it could be rainy season and the problem would go away and we would waste the spent on the product. So AJ with Duncan's help did a test area on Rum Road with very positive results, where the road like thickened up a little bit, so there's a little harder surface. AJ did say that it needed to be watered. It wasn't enough just taking the moisture out of the air. That probably would need some water. So we're looking into upgrading the water trailer with a pump and some spray nozzles on it, so we can ride it up and down the road once a day or once a week or whatever it takes to eliminate that. But come next spring, when the dry season starts, we have enough product probably to do about 1,500 feet of road just as a test. So we think that will help alleviate a lot of problems. Answer a question now.
Hi, my name is Laura Hartle. Is there a study that was done, not by you, but
it's been, yeah, there's been numerous studies throughout the country, and the product has been used frequently for that specific use. And there's been studies done on water runoff, whether it harms plants, whether it harms animals. It is actually a food product that they put as a food additive. So it's not something that's toxic. It's not something that is going to damage anything. Like sea salt, I guess if you put enough on it, it could damage plants. But it's we're only using a little bit and trying to do it when it's not rainy, so it won't wash off and we won't waste the product. It's pretty environmentally sound. We've been online researching it for a while now.
I'd love to have a website reference so that I can check the research?
You have my email address. Send me your contacts, and I'll send you what I've been looking at.
What is that?
Wait a minute. You have a question?
Oh, yeah, I was gonna ask what the product was, but, I was gonna say, if we have a water truck, why do we need to put product on it all? Can't we just water the road if we're gonna be watering?
No, what happens when you water it, in about 20 minutes, it dries up. So this actually.
Have you guys done any research on watering it with salt and seawater?
I had an expert come out here 2 years ago that's an expert in the field. And we came up with a lot of different suggestions. He saw, taking seawater, but this product is similar to that, but it's probably 20 times more effective. And you wouldn't need to.
I have a further question. Sorry, in the last couple of years, with the way we have Bartlett River happening, we have lots of standing water in places. Is that product going to affect the runoff?
It won't affect the runoff, but it will retain moisture in the road. Yes, that's why we're not putting it down in the rainy season. That's why we're only using the dry season. And
And it goes away.
It goes. We're
Okay.
using the
All right.
maybe a pound a yard or whatever. It's not a lot of product. It's not very little.
Right.
So just enough that actually what it does is sticks to the fine particles and binds them together, and it also any humidity coming
I've
out.
done research on it, and I've seen different websites and different researches on how it negatively affects aquatic life and how people are like, well, it doesn't really. It's the same as this. And so it's just which website you go to.
Yeah, exactly. It's who's promoting, but I think see my own opinion. In my own opinion, silica dust is a carcinogen. It can cause cancer just as much as asbestos. You have people riding up and down here without a mask, breathing that in. You get it in your house and furniture. I think that the positive things on this are much greater than any negative that it would be. There's positive and negative to everything, but it's a food additive, so it's not toxic. It works, and the dust is definitely a health hazard.
Can I just add that, if this seems like an ongoing sort of initiative, could we maybe make a page on the website with information, what the product is, maybe some links to, the things that sort of back up, hey, this is not going to harm stuff, and, sort of that pros versus cons. It'd just be informational. Yeah. People want information. So.
Well, they'll see the results. That would be proof in the pudding. So, and we're only doing a small, small test strip to start, and if it works, then we'll go from there.
So. I want to comment also. If you go over to Kingfisher and you see the product that AJ used on the road over there and how it's we hope to do that in more roads now, and I want to work on raising money to buy product for him like that so we can fix the roads better.
And in reference to the flooding on the south end right now, a lot of that is due to there's not a lot of permeable ground left on the island anymore. When you build a house, you have a couple 1,000 square foot house. You have a pool. You have pavers around it. You have a drain field that doesn't permeate. So now all of that water that's coming down that used to just sink into the ground has to go someplace. Right now, it's all been going into the low-lying areas. Water goes downhill. And I know SWIN has been working on this conservation effort to make more green space. And I think right now would be a good time to approach the lot owners that have these lots on these real low-lying areas and buy them up, give them what they paid for it or a little bit more, and make it like a retention field to help other people. Because I don't think you're going to stop the building. I would love to see a moratorium on building till we try out.
So on that note, is there any way that we can get some tunnels dug out to the canals for relief?
Right now, I believe Brian has a pump out to relieve that.
Doing it,
But the water table is actually very high. If you notice Safety Harbor Lake, it was pretty empty before the rain. After the rain, it filled up. And then when the rain stopped, it still went up another foot after that and did more flooding 2 days later because the whole water table up. No, we're trying. The only way I see helping it is to not build any more houses. But I'd have courses built on my house and burned and everything else because that's not going to fly. It probably would be a good idea, but getting the problem areas that where really the deep water is, and those lots are probably not worth much anyway because they're in that low area. It might be a good time to.
I don't know if this is the appropriate time to bring it up, but we're talking about the deep areas because I'm sorry I was late. But I know Jackie here and doing the signs for the posts for the roads. But I was wondering if we could have some sort of like in those few places that get really deep, like on Bartlett and like where relaxing is on Run Road, and that if we could have some like maybe some height indicator signs.
Oh yeah, so keep them up high, elevated for the flood bank. That might not be a bad idea.
That really is 5 feet right there. I walked through Bartlett to get our cart, and the water came all the way up to here on me, and you know I might not have done it, and there was iguana swimming in it too. Anyway. I would like to bring that up to see if we could add that to the signage, just in a few places.
Those are probably signs we could have made. I mean,
yeah, totally. Awesome.
No, I think the flooding is definitely a community problem, and we should address it. And I'd like input on how. Go ahead.
Well, just to go along, you and I were talking about this before the meeting very briefly. Mike, we're going to have a big interest in this over where we do as well. Again, I've already mentioned it. About the retention basins, and a perfect example for everybody who comes out here, because you have to drive past it. Pine Island Road at Veterans, you cross Veterans on the right-hand side, opposite Tropicaya, is a huge retention pond that they built for their runoff in their area, and it fills up to a certain extent, it drains. Now out here, you dig down 4 feet, you're hitting water, so you can't really dig it at any cost. But if you, as a for instance, if you were to, the vacant lot on the corner of Pirate and Bartlett, on the east side, that's vacant, that would be a possible location for retention with a drain inserted at some point running down, all the way down to the canal. Is it cheap? Absolutely not. Is it doable? I don't know. But it's something to think about for the future. And again, it's a project that benefits not necessarily the entire island, it certainly benefits people who live there, but there are other areas of the island that have the exact same issue, and maybe a few of those help the, maybe it's not going to go away while it's still raining the day after the storm, but it's not going to be there 6 days later like it is now. And don't walk barefoot in there because
I like that idea. Yeah. No, my feet are still wet.
Don't. That waste is now mixing in.
Oh.
Don't walk barefoot.
Anybody else have a question for Rich? All right, moving on. Conservation, town halls, LCEC, island waste disposal and dumping. Swin.
I'll start with conservation efforts. I actually did have a call yesterday with Ryan Orguera, who's the executive director at SCCF. He's been out for a few months and he's back. I hope to sort of re-engage with him. His sort of medium-term to long-term goal for North Captiva is to hire a new employee at SCCF who puts a lot of focus on North Captiva. However, they're a very large conservation group. So with that, he would need to probably see some conservation efforts from the island in terms of donations, fundraising, for them to be like, hey, we're going to spend this money on this person who's going to be over here. We need to see that the island's also invested in, covering some of that. So I think over the next, months, year, we'll engage with them, see what that means. Maybe we do some fundraising with them. But that would get someone who, weekly is living and breathing conservation. Conservation is a very wide term. As Rich mentioned, it goes from land conservation to wildlife conservation to plant and vegetation conservation, aquatic, and everything. Covers a lot of areas. Short term right now with land conservation, it's a tough time. Doesn't mean that we shouldn't be working on it. Prices are up. We may be able to go to some property owners who have owned for 15 years or 30 years or whatever, and get a better deal. To get certain land parcels off. I think SCCF would look at that with us because they do have a large fund for land conservation, and they seek to take parcels off the market. But then, they're sort of the person that they would bring on would, help us focus on wildlife and vegetation stuff as well. Everything from our gopher tortoises, as Rick says, like houses are coming. What happens to our gopher tortoises when there are 100 more houses on the island, right? Do we really all want them located into Central Florida? Can't just put them on state land. What do we do there? Indigo snake. Has anyone seen one this year? I haven't. Did you see one? Good. Okay, good.
And I heard that there
That's
was
good.
I heard there was one in Safety Harbor, and some kids were poking it with a stick because they don't move through the grass. And that kind of disappointed me. I guess people aren't educated or whatever. But that's what happens when you bring people.
Right. People don't know that the Sanibel Conservation, they actually have acquired some land in the state park too now. 2 huge pieces of property there, which is good. And I was talking to one of them down there. There's another private lot up for sale. It's very high priced.
3.5 million. I actually talked to them about it yesterday.
And they're just like not gonna. I mean, they're not budging on that one, but
Well, that one in particular is a very funky collection of parcels and surrounded by state land. It would almost take someone who was going to do a big estate.
well, it's up for sale because the original owners actually wanted to build there, and the EPA, the dock they put in, they wanted the dock has to be 12 feet up.
Right.
And if you put a dock 12 feet up, you pretty much don't have access to it from your boat. So it kind of, in doing that, it made it not really buildable per se. So the price is like really too high. And I know that they'd like to try to acquire it, to run it into another, but.
That one's definitely on their radar. Anyway, conservation efforts, ongoing effort, even with prices high right now, it's something we need to be looking at. And really as a community start trying to identify, kind of as Bill's saying also, sort of prime parcels that might be good to take off the market because they affect everything from, roads or other drain, Rich is saying drainage and stuff like that. So something for us to definitely be discussing.
I want to say something. It's easy for this guy to talk, but sometimes they're just pacifying us. You know what I mean? That they'll talk and talk, and action is what we need.
It's a long road from talking to action.
My take on them is, and I get it, right, they want to acquire land in the state park first before they ever tread up here.
All right.
So the money to be had, it's going to be down there before it's ever up here.
There's somebody online wants to.
Well,
yes.
Hey, this is Ann Caroline. I was wondering if maybe you could get the guy from SCCF to make a presentation just briefly to the island explaining the tax benefits of donating your land as a conservation easement. And that's different from what you read in the papers now about how they're clamping down on conservation easements, but it's actually, there are wonderful tax benefits towards doing it. And if someone owns a lot behind their house, for example, that they're not ever going to build on, they can donate it and take a significant tax break from it. And I think a lot of people maybe don't know how lucrative that is, or lucrative is not the right word. But do you think maybe that man would be interested in just maybe having a conference call with whoever might be interested?
He has already committed that he'll do a town hall with us. So yes.
Perfect.
And you're right, because many people actually don't know really what conservation is and the many facets of it and the advantage of a tax deduction.
That's a better word, advantageous instead of lucrative. Yeah, it's very advantageous. Dick and I have done that in Florida and in other places, and it was a good thing to do, but also helped us offset taxes, which is something probably most of us want to do.
Alex has a question.
So talking about conservation, I know people don't really think about it, but the iguanas that are starting to come out here, they are a huge problem because they lay anywhere from 14 to 78 eggs at a time. And in the state of Florida, they are actually kill on site if you have permission from the homeowner. I know a lot of people don't want to see that happen. However, a lot of people have spent thousands upon thousands and hundreds of thousands of dollars for landscaping in their yards and all the different plants around the island. And the iguanas tear up all the plants. And right now, I've seen 4 personally, different locations throughout the island. They're ranging in sizes. And something, if we want to talk about conservation, that's a problem that we can eliminate before it gets out of hand. Because if you look at Captiva, Miami, the Keys, started with a few, and then they've expanded. So, any thoughts on?
Yeah, you're absolutely right. Ironically, I was going to bring that up. I actually spoke with Rick Fox yesterday, Safety Harbor Club, to start that dialogue with them based on our sort of fire district fundraiser of the idea of, hey, do we need to, sort of get some trappers, get people out now to sort of look at eradication. So Rick, Safety Harbor Club has an extermination company that they use for removal of raccoons and all like that. So they're going to bring up that topic with them to start with, and then start looking at it. Many of you will know that years ago, there was actually, the iguanas were worse than they are right now. And then there was a big freeze, kind of killed them all off, but they are coming back up. I was driving down Bartlett Parkway Thursday evening, and I'm going down, I see something pop up and look around and dive back down. It was definitely an iguana in that flooded water. So you're right. I think as an island, we need to discuss it. And it's really the hard thing about our island, right? We're not a municipality. And we're not going to get help from the county. We're on our own. We're going to have to come together, figure it out. And like I said, what if someone goes, well, I don't want you clubbing that thing on my property. You see it, and it's like, so we definitely need to.
Close to next door.
Yeah, we definitely need to chase it next door and club it. So I'm sort of in a wait and see. I'll be interested to see what Safety Harbor Club, because they kind of deal with it on a big scale, comes back with, and what their people say, and then do we come together making an island-wide effort.
There's 2 and say there's 1 that I've seen in Safety Harbor, and then the rest have been down by Mainstay, over off Kingfisher, and then 1 back by the State Preserve.
Yeah. I've seen 2 in NCIC.
And NCIC.
Yeah, and then pretty big there.
And also Safety Harbor Club got rid of that alligator that was in the pond.
Yeah, I heard that.
They don't crossbreed by any chance, do they? Because I've seen some funky looking geckos that are larger than they should be, but not the size of an iguana. This go round.
So one thing with that, and so one other little angle on the iguanas, and I plan to reach out, and I don't know if we'll get any help, but the state park, Cayo Costa, all state parks drop a 10-year budget. And so they just dropped their 10-year budget in March. And, I don't know that everyone here knows, probably do, that, our preserve is Cayo Costa. It's just an extension of Cayo Costa State Park. And so that budget also covers the state lands here. And that budget includes removal of invasive species of animal and plant life and stuff like that. Everything from, coyotes and iguanas and everything. So I don't know that we can reach out and get some budget from them. And I don't know if they will move anything except on the actual state land. I don't know if they would actually come in.
They have a guy, the guy comes in.
Yeah. Yeah. So we might want to engage them about the iguanas and see if we can get some advice. Anything else on iguanas?
Repeat that to death.
Yeah, sorry. So next on my initiative list on David will probably send out a communication this week about it. On July 21st, we're gonna run a town hall where I'm gonna try to sort of disseminate information on the proposed Safe Harbor Marina's treehouse development that's coming over on Point House Trail. As there's been so much turnover in properties over the last year and a half, there are probably a ton of property owners that don't have any idea what that is. But you know, in a nutshell, it is a proposed hotel of 10 bungalow style treehouse rooms with no kitchenette, no bathrooms, no bathrooms, centralized shower, you know, bathhouse type facilities with a pool and a small tiki bar. As far as, you know, something that aligns with the use on the island, you know, my goal in this town hall will be to put the information out there. I'm going to try to stay very neutral on my opinion, because we need to get it out to the community, and then we need to get back from the community in terms of a survey of where we are as a community. Are we against it? Are we okay with it? Are we okay with managed development? Or are we just okay because, hey, it's their property, do what they want? We need to figure that out and figure out if we have a fight, and if we're going to have a fight. Be 1 second, I'll go through the thing. So there's a very rigid process that this goes through. Right now, the process is they filed for their application for a variance change from C1 to CPD. Is that right? Anyway, to get this change. Right now, under their C1, they could only do 3 of these bungalows. Basically, in the future use plan for our area, it's 1 dwelling per acre is what you can basically build, unless you were already subdivided. And so they are just at 1 acre, and 3 hotel rooms equals 1 dwelling. So they could do 3 right now. They have to get a variance done to get this done. So the process right now is they're in application phase. They are marked insufficient by the county, which means they haven't checked all the boxes that they need to check to have the county actually review their application. Once they check all those boxes, which will probably happen within the next 3 to 6 months, the county zoning will review it. They will then turn over their recommendation, their opinion, to an independent hearing examiner with the county. That hearing examiner is truly independent. They're not allowed to talk to county staff or even ask them questions. All they can do is look at the report, look at law and everything, and make a determination. That hearing examiner will then set a hearing date, usually 60 days notice. At that hearing, the applicant to Safe Harbor will make their pitch. The county will present their findings, and then the public has a chance to comment at that hearing. Very important, if you have comments about that proposed variance change in that development, that you go to that hearing and speak. When you speak, if you want to speak for 3 hours, they will let you speak for 3 hours at that hearing. But after that hearing examiner makes their determination, it then gets turned over to the Board of Commissioners. And once that goes in front of the Board of Commissioners, if you did not speak at that hearing, you cannot speak in front of the commissioners. And at the commissioners, then there's a time for you, 3 minutes to be able to speak in front of the commissioners. So there's this very rigid path where we're going down. So we kind of need to put it out in the community. figure out where we are. If we determine that we have to fight or we have to engage for, sort of managed development, then we need to do that.
So for starters, personally, I cannot comprehend how people can support this safe harbor building on our island. It is the first step to our island becoming something like Captiva or Sanibel, where you're going to have just these day trippers coming. Brian Brillhart wanted to do it. That never panned out. He got it approved, but they were much smaller. It was a lot bigger piece of land over there too, except they've added 2 lots. But if they're coming out here, they're going to have 1 community bathroom, or like the community dwelling. I've been talking with a lot of homeowners on this island who are not involved with any politics, and we've all come together. We would like to start a petition to just eliminate this right off the bat. And there's several of us who have already looked at the hearings, and if it goes to a hearing, want to be there with as much support from people on this island as possible to just nip it right in the bud and say no. Safe Harbor has deep pockets.
Yeah, they do.
Nobody can fight them financially unless you're like Jeff Bezos. So what can we do together to just, on this proposal, and they meet with us on July 21st, on July 21st, just kind of get the message set straight. Like, we don't want this here. We're going to fight it. Well,
so that's your opportunity to come into that meeting and voice that opinion, right? So I feel for me, because I'm viewing this as informational, it's important for me not to put forth my opinion, because I don't want to steer it one way or another, right? I think we need true community feedback. And see, I would err on the side that I think that the balance is going to align with how you feel about it and everything. But you're right. If that is where we are as a community, then again, we're not a city, we're not a municipality. Even us, we're sort of a loose, association on the island that is only as strong as everyone allows us to be. So we need to determine, is there a fight? Who's going to fight that fight? Is it UCCA? Is it an independent defense fund, island defense fund that comes together? Even though we wouldn't have the deep pockets that they have, we'll need to spend some money. We'll probably need to get a local attorney who is privy to land use rights and stuff like that. Now, I think one thing that bodes well for the island against it is that they killed the old Keynesian thing years ago, and it's the same exact property. And
talking about conservation, having these 10 tree houses where they're going to have to clear all of this land and put in a waste treatment plant to be able to keep up with the amount of sewage that they're going to produce. I mean, I don't think that we can say that we're doing anything for conservation if we do stuff that supports this.
I can't disagree. There are a lot of logistics issues too, where all the boat traffic, all that kind of stuff. Which beach do you think they're going to use, right? Salty approach. So a lot of questions. So anyway, on the 21st, first Zoom meeting on that, depending on attendance on that, and then we'll post it. We may do a second one shortly thereafter, and then a quick survey after. But it's definitely something that we need to be moving forward, because they are definitely coming down the path. Now they're moving slow because in their grand scheme of things, we're not a priority. They have other way bigger projects around the country that they're working on, but their engineer is working, monthly on it.
So 11 days is the meeting?
Yeah, in 11 days. Wednesday, the 21st.
Okay. There'll be an email sent out.
I don't have a solution to that, but for anybody that is on the fence that might be listening, my family has personal experience with Safe Harbor. My mother lives in Reynolds Plantation in Greensboro, Georgia. They are not up on keeping their investment clean. I don't know from what I understand, they were going to ferry people over. They weren't going to let them bring the boats. They keep the water very dirty. The pollution issue is a problem on the land and in the water. You go into that gated area on Reynolds Plantation and it's filthy all the time. We're out on a barrier island. That's on the mainland on Lake Oconee.
You can't get the garbage off we have now.
That's something that if you come to that meeting, that's a good comment to make. Exactly.
Yeah.
You have proof. So
Yeah, so when David sends out the email communication, we'll have some backup documents that will go with that, links to their actual application, county responses to it, their replies to it, the video concept and everything. So I encourage everyone to come to that. It'll be a Zoom. It'll be a Zoom. Yeah, like the sheriff one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You mean on their part?
Yeah, to attend to show up for that Zoom.
We'll get all that information out on.
Yeah. Yeah, but I encourage you to be part of that and to review some of the documentation beforehand. We need a big discussion about it so we can determine where we are. So move on. I just got a couple of quick other things. So just real quick on LCEC. I had a conversation with Trisha Dorn with LCEC about a month ago. She is the account executive over this area, not an account executive in the terms of she's just trying to sell accounts, but she knows everything going on our island. You may have already seen survey crews out working and stuff, but LCEC is in the beginning stages of a pretty big project to basically replace all the underground lines and all the boxes on the island so that they've got really a better match of all the lines, because right now there's all sorts of crisscross of lines and everything, and they don't always know what box to go to fix which house and stuff like that. So you should see survey crews out right now. In about 2 months, the major work will happen. So you're going to see them digging up parts of roads, replacing power lines underneath, replacing the boxes, and they hope to finish that by end of year and everything, which should make service better. They're also starting to look at the possibility of building a substation here on the island, which that sounds like a bigger thing than it is. It would be a parcel maybe like that one right there with, a small shack on it that really just houses their equipment. So if something happens and they have to get over here, they're just bringing manpower over and they don't have to gather equipment. Right now, if something happens, they got to identify the manpower that's coming. They got to grab all the equipment. They got to get that on boats, get it over, and it's harder. So that's something that they're starting to look at the possibility of doing.
I want to say something too. During this last storm, my power came back quicker than it has ever.
Yeah, like 4 or 5 hours.
Yeah, it didn't go off.
No, it wasn't even that.
It wasn't even that, a couple hours.
It depended.
I called and I would say within 2 hours.
I'm quite surprised because I know their major things are underwater.
Yeah. It hung
It's
in.
always weird seeing the boxes.
I know, and I'm like, that would be the first thing. Let's put concrete blocks and put them up. But
Yeah, that's what I think.
It hung in there longer than it usually does. It was well into the storm. It was like 4 a.m. when ours went out.
I was going to say, it went out at 4, the longest was at 9.
I mean, I
So,
think,
about 5 hours.
but you guys know during the last big storm surge we had, there was a lot of equipment replaced. The boxes, individual boxes, rewiring. They did the one down here at the end of the road. They did a lot of stuff that was weak already. So I think that helped bolster it. It didn't fix it all, but it helped give it some
but
support.
David, I think the big thing was this time, we didn't have a storm surge. So all the water that was pooling up there is fresh water. It's not salt water. Fresh water and electricity mix pretty well.
Over
when you
there,
have the salt
over there on the South 40, it might be, but down the North 40, down the road.
So last thing with LCEC. Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead, Laura. Oh, it did? They said the meeting.
Everybody's still on.
Bill's not, he's back in now.
Oh, okay. Good.
Creating instead of interrupting.
No worries. So last thing on LCEC, I asked Trisha if she would do a Zoom town hall with us. She said she does those all the time. She's over hundreds of communities across Lee County and does them. So sometime in the fall, we'll set up a, I don't expect it'll be a very long one, but people will be able to ask LCC directly any questions or things they want to know about power on the island.
So just as a reminder, that's now 2 town halls that are coming. And remember, on the website, we'll post the video after the fact if you can't attend online, or at the time, and we will post indexed into it so that the topics that they cover will be indexed and available. So just know that they'll be up there. Now, it may take a few days afterwards because it takes a while to produce those videos and put them up to the web, but YouTube, but just know they'll be there.
And then sort of just last thing that I kind of want to cover, and I really don't want, I think this is just sort of a light comment about this, and for us as a community to really start discussing what our options are. Rich, I know you're gonna look in with Danny on some stuff, but look, you did talk. Awesome. We'll let you say that in just a second. Anyway, look, we have a waste problem on the island, right? And I'm not talking household garbage. Generally, that's fairly well in hand. There are some abusers of that system, but vegetative waste, what I consider junk, right? A lot of dumping of junk on land parcels in recent 6 months and everything. I don't know how we catch those people unless there are a lot more cameras that go up and people catch people actually dumping junk. But we have to solve it somehow. There's an obvious barrier, either in ease of path of getting rid of it or financially, that's making people go, I'll just go dump it on Rich's lot. It's like, and we can't have it. So as an island, I think we really have to start engaging and figure out what is our path forward. Hopefully Danny can help in some areas.
Right now, Danny will take care of anything. It's just a matter of paying for it. Right. So to have Danny do it, or to have the county do it, or Brian to do it, or whoever, in everybody's opinion that I've talked to, much cheaper to do it, the system that we have now. Yes, if we spread it amongst everybody, maybe an individual won't pay as much, but if you take the whole thing, we'll be spending a lot more money to have the county involved, taking our garbage off here instead of a private competitive place. So yeah, we do have a problem. Yeah, chipping. Lee County recommends you just chip it in your own yard. There's plenty of people on the island that chip, Sherman and Duncan and Queen Cut and whoever you hire. They just got to be responsible. So Safety Harbor Club will chip anybody's yard that they have.
Right.
They'll come.
But not necessarily in a timely fashion, right? Because I've dealt with it. I've dealt with it where I've got stuff and it's like you pay someone, hey, do this, and you're going to chip it, and then you're chasing them for days or weeks, maybe months.
I've never had that problem.
I don't know.
I had that problem.
I think the biggest problem is the dumping too of waste. Because if you ride around, anybody knows that's here, and you look at the piles, and it is also a fire hazard. Now, not because of the rain, but when that stuff dries out, somebody's going to throw a cigarette in there or something driving by, and it's going to catch on fire. I think that's to get rid of those.
So that people create. I mean, it's always been a problem. Garbage has always been a problem, and it's exacerbated. The more people, more houses we build.
More people out here. Danny did say garbage has doubled since the pandemic.
More
than doubled.
Wow.
Yes. And the more renters too, I think, is
yeah. So
contributed to it.
So the question there is, and this is for the community and for us to really, I mean, look, we're not solving this today, right? But like this is an ongoing dialogue. Danny stuff. As we saw stuff get dumped on the neighbor's lot across from us, I'm talking to JJ as we have our Davenport box in front of our house. We're putting stuff in. Going, thanks for doing it the right way, right? So how do we get the broad community to do it the right way?
I think you got to hold the property managers accountable when you hire them. If you hire them and they do a good job, rehire them. If you hire them and they don't do a good job, don't hire them anymore and find somebody else that does the job for you.
So I'll give you an example, and I'm sorry,
Even
guys.
if it's a little more expensive, maybe sometimes you get what you pay for.
So I'll give you an example, and Ann Caroline, who's online, can maybe speak to it. You know, she has had someone, you know, dumped an old washing machine on her property behind her house. Was that a property manager that did that, or was that a new homeowner, or was that some other, you know, construction vendor that said, "Oh, I'll get it out of here for you for $150," and then they take the $150 and then they go dump it. So it's like, I don't think it's just a property manager issue. I think it's any entity that you pick. There are definitely probably homeowners that do it. There are property managers. There are island vendors that contribute, and it's like, if the path right now is already there, you pay for $100 to your box, or you can go, "Hey, Danny, I watch your drive from pulled off. Oh yeah, it's going to cost you $100."
It's not Danny.
You know, I know, but who else?
Because there are some of the newer vendors.
I know over by Barnacles, there's a golf cart graveyard. And somebody told me that they're thinking about hiring Danny to party up instead of thinking about it. I don't know, when you first come to the island, that's the first thing you see. Maybe that contributes to people being a little bit more lax and throwing more garbage. The place is pristine. Nobody wants to get caught throwing a piece of garbage.
So I'm sorry, Dave. One thing, I just have one little follow up on that about the golf cart graveyard. Let's just throw it out there. I'll mention his name. I spoke with Duncan this morning again about it. He promises within the month that's all going to be cleaned up. Now, I know promises are easy to make. So just know that I'm going to stay on him to try to hold him accountable to that. We'll see. It's horrible. It's horrible.
And it's not. That's.
We can't hear you.
You want me to get you the list of everything?
Oh no! Yeah, no, I know. I know.
All right.
Sorry.
Yes, Alex, go ahead.
It was just addressed. My concern was just the mainstay, right by mainstay. So, I mean, I've done some check-ins for some people, and that's their first impression getting off the boat.
Terrible.
Well,
It's awful.
it's awful, but I got the other side of that is a commercial piece of property.
It is.
And because it is commercial,
They can do if they want. I mean,
so
Buzzards
it's a
Park,
fine
South
line.
I don't know if you can do
Well,
it.
it's actually under a violation right now.
Yeah, but exactly, he's under violation on a few things.
He has other violations.
Yeah.
David, go ahead.
Go.
All right, so this is a topic, like many other topics that we have on the island, that over the years, my experience is that the goal of UCCA is not to be a place where everybody comes and says the thing that's obvious. Everybody's going to come and complain about the golf cart, and we're going to complain about the trash, and we're going to complain about those things. Those are well-known issues. What we're asking to or having to decide is it an initiative the UCCA wants to try to come to facilitate some solutions? And that's what we can't sit here and talk for an hour because everybody's got the stories. We hate it. We don't like it. And it's bad. And we all know it. So there's no need to say it, I think, in my mind. I'm not being rude. I'm trying to say we do this a lot. We act as a complaint place, but we got to do something to like suggest solutions. And we're asking as a group, if we take that on your behalf, then we can noodle around and think of ideas and then come back to you and say, here's some suggestions, practical suggestions. It's not going to be panacea and perfect, and we won't get it all done. But if we can focus on some things that make a difference, we can start to have some progress. But we have to be charged and feel responsible and given some authority to go come get ideas. That's what we should do, is go work together to come up with suggested solutions, not just to point fingers over there. That's bad. Oh, and that's bad. And that always happens. Oh, and that's always happened forever. Let's try to like ask that we form a committee, or what do we do to say, like we've done with these tasks, right? We've listed these out initiatives. Joanne's got one, Jackie's got one, Bill's got one, David's got responsibility, Jackie's got some now, Rich is doing some things, and Swin has got these topics, but we need to focus and get some practical solutions out there. And not gonna fix it all. Clearly, you guys know that. Many of these, like the golf carts, very complex issues. There are legal things, there are participation things, there are the rental agency things. There are many things that weigh into it. It's very complex. We need to find ways to do some simple things to make little bits of progress and not wait till we can figure it all out before we do anything. So I think that's what we're asking is that.
Piper's had her hand up for a while. Still up, right? So has Laura.
I just want to say real quick on what Joanne was talking about the fire hazards with the brush. I think just to put it into all of our heads, and maybe it's UPDA that goes to Safety Harbor Club. I think as an island, our biggest safety hazard is the Safety Harbor where they ship all their piles. Because at the bottom of that, it can get up to 1,200 to 1,500 degrees on the bottom of that. And Jackie, we're right there by it, you know what I mean? So it's like, my solution would be just for maybe up the approach to Safety Harbor and go behind water that, just to make sure, you know what I mean? Just to keep the temperature down on it, or I don't know.
I can answer that. Charles has been monitoring that for quite a few years now. There's never been a problem there. He rotates it around. He turns it around constantly. When it gets too high, he moves it. Right now, it's underwater, so there's no problem. I've never seen it steaming over there like you see other.
I just know that happens with the buildup.
Yeah, no, I can if you don't monitor it, but he's there. He's there all the time, and that's one of.
This young lady.
Laura, go ahead.
So I know a good bit of the problem is vendors. And lately we've been inundated with vendors that a lot of people don't recognize. Every day there's someone new that says that they're service to the island. We don't issue any kind of permit. We don't have a contact. We have no regulation on it. These people can come and go at will. I think it would be a good idea if there was a point of contact, just as a courtesy to do business with the island, that they had to be registered in some way or somehow. I know that we don't have a legal binding to that.
We don't have the authority to do
but
that.
Just to ask them to check in.
We could, but I mean, we don't have an.
Probably.
My take is, when we don't have authority to do anything, which we don't, like, I'd rather put our efforts into something that we can really, like, you know.
But if we don't do anything, we're going to continue to have that problem.
No.
More and more people see this as an opportunist situation.
How about the island sets up a whole HOA for the whole island?
No, I didn't say anything about an HOA.
Well,
I have an HOA that does nothing already. The president
I threw out that.
He could do what he wanted.
I threw out that theoretical, and there were a lot of four-letter words.
I mean,
well, that's why.
when it comes down to it, you have to really appreciate where you are and why you're here. And your expectations really need to go in line with that. You are not on a mainland that has any type of governing body, and we're just not. And
the safety of the people that live in it.
I'm not saying I don't agree with you.
We all agree.
I agree with what you're saying. But with that being said, it's like are we doing something where our hands are tied behind our back? Because all it takes is someone a knowledgeable person to say, they can't do anything. Just bypass them. And so we get bypassed. One of the things that we do try to do is, just for example, is our phone book. And we take solicitations and we send that out every 2 years, and we really try to endorse people that are good workers for the island in that. And so when people ask me, hey, do you have someone you can blah, 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 I'm like, yeah, you should use the phone book and go in there and look, because we have contact with those people, and we can stand behind them because many of us know them or we've used them or whatnot. But other than that, I mean, it's like, and the other side of that too, that I think is, this island is big enough to have other people come on it and work, and by God, there's a need for that.
I want to say something too. I spoke just a few days ago, this is another example, to the sheriff. And I asked him about having all these little kids driving golf carts, which they shouldn't be. You can't, he said he can't enforce it legally. So, and then that's an analogy to what you're talking about. Because
That's something that people put in their personal contract.
Well, that's what I mean. I mean, it's like, do you want UCCA to really fight with the golf carts when basically UCCA knows what we can and cannot do with the golf carts, really can't do anything. So why are we going to expend that energy? I'd rather put it on something else that we really could make a difference doing. That's my personal take on it.
On recycling, the impact, change the subject.
Obviously, that's going to come up then. And you're going to still see large things being dumped on lots because somebody made a quick bubble and
I want to add one little note to that really made a difference for us. We're not the homeowners associations when you're down there with us now. We have a lot, and we kind of got a little bit of our homeowners group took some dues. We cannot force people to pay anything. It was just a suggestion. You want to help. Basically, to keep that lot cleared out because it's a very big lot, and when the front of it was camouflaged with stuff, you can't believe what was dumped behind there for years and years and years. We cleaned it up. There's not been anything dumped there since we opened it up, and it's made visible. So there is a little thing that can be done, and we can promote that to homeowners. Homeowners, you have, or I mean not homeowners, but lot owners, you have lots. You keep them cleaned out, and yeah, keep the Brazilian pepper cleaned up, whatever. The more you keep it cleaned out, the less dumping there will be on it.
Well, yeah.
People are going behind people's homes and dumping. They're going to wide open clean lots and throwing heating lamps where everybody can see them. Because it's a nice clear spot.
This started happening this past year more than ever.
Yeah, it's got to.
There's more people here that don't care.
No, there's a great correlation in the turnover of houses.
Yeah.
A huge correlation. People coming in, buying new homes, they don't want that stuff, they don't know how to get rid of it, they don't want to pay properly to get rid of it. So, and like Swin said, maybe they hired somebody to do it, and that person just takes the money and takes it. It's a problem. We all acknowledge that it's a problem.
And they don't live here either. So they don't have to look at it. We do.
Some people own that vacant lot.
Well, some, but not a lot.
Yeah. So I think, short term, probably what we'll see, and I know from talking to a few people, look, more and more of us have cameras going up. I'm gonna put in a couple of new cameras that are pointing at empty lots across from my homes, because all we got to do is catch them. You catch a few of them, then becomes a sheriff action. Now it's illegal dumping.
Sure.
Right. And so I think we're just gonna have to catch some people in the act. And it's all makes and models of people here. It's new homeowners, probably some older homeowners, it's vendors. Anyway, it's a problem. I think as a community, we have to keep talking about potential solutions. And if you think of an idea, even if it sounds crazy, throw it out. We can all go, that sounds crazy.
And if it's out in the open and people hear about it, maybe they'll be a little bit intimidated.
Right.
Maybe.
One thing that is feasible is cardboard recycling. The 6-yard containers cost about 1/3 of what regular containers cost. And it's easy to dispose of, but Danny and Brian, neither one of them wanted to take the responsibility of breaking the cardboard down. They want it flat and picked up that way. But they're on board with recycling cardboard if the homeowners will flatten it and leave it out. And now with all of the online shopping, there's probably a lot of cardboard here.
Oh, yeah.
So that actually is proposed and probably being implemented.
That'd be great.
I think we should move on.
Okay.
Well done.
Is there anything else on waste disposal, something? Anything else? Okay. Mine is the next one, the fire draft, the tree removal at the kayak launch, the UCCA kayak launch. Spoke to Rick Fox. He's going to take care of it as part of safety.
But he left the stump.
Oh,
Yeah.
Well, you didn't get it if you can get the snow.
Okay.
It's up probably about that high.
I can take a chainsaw and cut it down, but that doesn't help me.
There's not much left of it.
All right, tree is down. All right, moving on to dark sky.
Hang on before you go. So what's the plan on removing it? Because we agreed we would remove it.
I think they probably didn't finish. They probably did it.
Yeah.
You think that's
I'll
true?
talk
Yeah,
to-
I think
I'll
so.
talk to Rick
No
again.
problem.
Yeah.
He assured me that.
Because they had a lot of stuff to pick up.
Okay.
Yeah. So it should not be a problem.
Just for the group the access that our kayak, that it's an access way that goes down to the canal. The fire truck that has a tanker that can back towards the water source to fight fires has a hose that goes out the back, cannot back into that easement to get to the canal. That tree is blocking the way. That's why we're trying to remove it.
Yeah, well,
But I want to say something too. I have phone numbers.
okay, I'll do one today. Stuff. But the tree is down.
Yeah.
Suzanne, you're next, dark sky.
Melissa, are you on Zoom? Melissa
I
Everly.
am. I am
Okay.
here.
She stayed the whole time to
Yes.
speak at the end.
Melissa, you have the floor to talk about dark skies.
Okay. I don't have too much. We all know that we've got, increased growth and more lights and more all sorts of stuff coming on the island. And what we kind of want to do is not so much as an ordinance, point of view, but we do want to remind people about it. But I'm working on an educational flyer where we can go around and, at night we can, look at homes, and just either leave the flyer or duplicate it with, sending it to the homeowner that we have on file, but something that says, checks here that, within code, or maybe something a little friendlier. I don't want to come in and say you're, not within code or not, but we can, have a checkbox saying you're within code. Thanks a lot. Here's a compliment on what you've done. We appreciate whatever. And, more education about why we're doing this with the, conservation and wildlife and what it does with our inhabitants on the island. But if not, here's what you can do to correct it. And a statement that shows where, unable to view lighting sources at the time. Maybe we can copy the ordinance, something like that. So I'd like to, that's kind of where we're going with it. We hear plenty of stories about it, but what do we do about it? So I'm really want to do more education,
Hey, Melissa,
so if it's renters on the island, like, yeah, keep your lights off at night. Maybe they don't know. I keep something in my welcome book, and maybe not everybody does, but this way they have it on hand while they're there.
Can you explain briefly the ordinance? Because I'd say some number of people in this meeting aren't aware of this either.
So the ordinance really covers light trespass off your property. You don't want lights shining in the air, upward. It's basically, they have to be kind of covered. It's okay for path lighting where it's shaded down, so you can see where you're stepping. Lights that don't stay on all night. Lights that don't go into the sky or like into your trees or upward. That's basically what it is. We want to, obviously if you're near the beach, you don't want to interfere with the sea turtles. But also on inland, we don't want any more light trespass on your neighbors. So it's very festive, and maybe you have a party, that's fine. Then you turn them off. That we have lots of rentals that have lights up year round. I mean, all day long, all night long. And it's not appropriate, and the neighbors don't appreciate it. And I'm sure that our animal neighbors don't appreciate it either. It also affects our plant life. So it affects everything, the growth and development.
What is the time on that? I mean, is there like a time? Is it what?
Well, the ordinance is actually in effect now. It started January 1st of this year.
Time, like the lights should be off at night versus, like with the diesel, like 9 p.m. until 7 a.m.
Right. Oh, okay. Yeah. I mean, I can add that to that too. So it's basically, when it's dark. Yeah. But fully dark, not just sunset.
So everybody knows, if you go to the UCCA website, on the frequently asked questions, there's a good section on there about the Dark Skies Initiative. Melissa helped craft that. It's got all the details about what the lights are supposed to look like and how they're supposed to be done and what changes you need to make. Should have done by the beginning of this year. And those, just like Brazilian pepper, are like code enforceable stuff. So it's out there to get educated. So just know it's out there. And it's but she did a great job of providing all the information and then references to the, you know, to the actual in the code, the ordinance at Lee County. It's got pictures and diagrams of things that how it should be.
Just real quick, Melissa, it's Swen. One thought is just suggestion that maybe we recommend to homeowners installing timers for their outdoor lights, right? Because so many, you know, especially visitors, you know, they turn them on, they don't remember, they just don't know, and then they just stay on all night. And usually when we're going out at night, it's 5, 10 minutes, 15 minutes, something like that we need it. So just a suggestion. And this is a hard thing to get done. I mean, you're asking homeowners to replace lights or maybe put in timers and all like that, you know, time and money. So it's a great effort though. Everything from our wildlife to, you know, those of us who like to gaze at our gorgeous sky here and everything. We darken up our eyes.
Melissa, I don't remember if you talked about no upturn lights, you know, like accent lighting of trees in your house and so forth. Also, and everything should be aimed down, but also no bare bulbs showing. And that's, for example, my front porch has a bare bulb, you know, just a glass little, you know, like a carriage light, and I just paint it over. I mean, I just painted the glass on the roadside so that what's behind it, yep, shines down. But I mean, that didn't cost much money, just buy some spray paint. So there are ways to handle, if it's a bare bulb, there are ways to handle it. Or you can shield it. But the bare bulb.
Exactly. And we want to provide affordable options for people too. So, you know, if you want to alter what you have, here's a way to do it. And, you know, if you don't want to replace it, if you're going to replace it, here are some suggestions. Basically what we have, it's all written and, you know, displayed in the, you know, with illustrations in the ordinance. So it should be pretty simple, but we want to help people. You know, I don't want to come in with my fist, you know, shaking my fist at everybody. So we just want people to know why it's important too.
Okay, is there anything, if anybody would have a question for Melissa or anybody have comments on Dark Sky?
This is one of my major pet peeves. I'm sight impaired. I need more light. I intend to have more light. I don't agree with this proposal at all, or this ordinance at all.
But
you can have it shine down, Janet. As long as it shines down.
Yeah.
You can have light that shines down on the ground and light up. There's ways to do it.
But
I also think that when you go out, you put the light on, but then when you come back, you can turn it off. So I don't think
not
there'd be an
always.
objection.
I like to see out. I don't want dark.
At night when you're in the house?
Right. I like to be able to see out.
Sleep?
And no, we turn them off when we go to bed.
Okay, well then that's a little different too. I think because you're sight
But I
impaired.
need a
You need
lot
it to
of
see.
light.
Yeah, no, you need light to see to walk outside in the night.
Absolutely. And just to see, I need a lot of light.
They sell special hats that can go so they don't shine into the sky. And they direct the light down into the yard and into the paths. And that way, everybody can still see the stars around your property.
I don't care. Sorry. I only care about being able to see. So we'll probably, if anybody says anything to me, we'll probably have a battle about it.
Well, and there are ways to do that. So you can, I mean, we can come onto your property too. I'm going to be going over to Ann Caroline's to help her upgrade some things as well. So there are ways to do it, like with timer, or maybe it's not as bright. Maybe you're not using LEDs.
I would like much more road lighting. I don't think we have nearly enough. Half the time they're not working at Safety Harbor Club. I think I need more light. So I don't care about who wants to see the sky. I want to see where I'm going. I think it's a silly argument.
This is what's great about America. We can all have our difference of opinions and live our lives in peace.
And you are entitled to your own opinion. Nobody's trying to change that.
Can we move
All right.
on now to new business?
You can't hear while you're driving.
Furthermore, I would like a white ordinance against the noise.
All right, let's go to new business.
I just say, look, I love seeing as many people that are showing up to these meetings. It takes sort of, this is part of the community building. I know that, people watch some of our meetings and it feels divisive and all like that, but just like Jan, sometimes we have differences of opinions of how things should be or how things should work. Yeah, and that's okay, right? Without the dialogue and without the input, we can't make any progress. We're not going to solve the island's overall problems. All we can do is try to make some things better in some areas, but that takes our community and input to do it. And I think any of us are, but I'm always available if you have concerns for or against the way I think. Reach out to me. I'll talk to anyone about anything, anytime.
All of us.
Yeah. That's what
Any of us.
all of us do
That's
that.
what we're here for.
So please, stay involved. That's how we can, sort of make little bits of progress. And it is baby steps. We're not gonna, wave a wand and solve everything.
And I want to say too that this meeting was very amicable. It was nice that there were no arguments. We had a lot of contribution from the people out here, which is good. And if that's what we're here for. And if you ever want to talk to any of us, please do.
Okay,
Jackie?
all right.
Motion to adjourn?
Wait.
Oh,
I have
you said,
something
sorry.
else.
No, sorry.
What about the mosquito? Is there anything?
You just got to do the report, right? Yeah, Bill?
What do you say?
Oh,
I spent a good deal of time on the phone yesterday with the Lee County Mosquito Control.
I call off.
We, like every other community in the county, are inundated with standing water and mosquitoes. We are on their list. They will get to us.
You're going to spray with the helicopter.
In the meantime,
They did yesterday.
just do what you can around your property. If you have a bird bath, an old tire, old pots, whatever, dump the water out. There's nothing we can do about the standing water in the roads, but that's not where they're gonna breed because cold press drive through and kill the larva if it ever got planted in the first place. It's the standing puddles on the property, behind your property, behind the lots, that's where they're gonna be. So just dump that water out and the larva will die. Hummingbirds like them, lizards like them, dragonflies like them. Once they hatch out, they'll be eaten as well. But in the meantime, this is where we've chosen to live. And we have to put up with this annoyance, just like we have to put up with the lakes after big storms.
They were dropping dragonflies this morning at like 10.
Oh, good.
I saw them taking samples this morning.
And another thing is, do not let children play in that standing water. I saw a thing the other day about how contaminated that water is. If you see a visitor child there, let them know. I mean, they could get really, really sick.
Or is there something to say before we close?
Yes, if anybody needs help filling out the form online, I'm willing to do that for you.
Or the mosquito control?
For mosquito control, to add that information, I'm happy to give my phone number out. All I need is your address, the email that goes with it.
And then you, yeah.
And then I'll fill out the forms if you aren't an online person.
And this is the forms for what?
For requesting.
Mosquito
Yeah,
control.
I just wanted you to say
Right,
that.
because the more, and that,
And it's a quick form, but some people don't like to go online.
Sure.
If you can't adjust the
Sure.
size, it can be a problem.
right, and the more we do that, squeaky wheel.
The
gets
more
a little-
likely
they're more- Right, they're going to.
David and I just mentioned putting the link on
I was-
the UCCA website as
It-
well.
The mosquito, it should be. Laura, would you be with, listen, that's another thing. You can talk to David about that, but if you're willing to do that, let him put your name and your phone number or what contact to it and a little blurb about you're willing to, you know, help anybody out to do that. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's the way things will get done.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. Good.
Okay. If there's nothing else, we're adjourned.
You good?
We did.
I made a motion.
David
Do we have a
did it.
second?
I seconded already.
Okay, we can vote.
Oh, we
Yes.
vote,
We
everybody
can say
vote.
yes.
Adjourned.
Run for the hills.
Aye,
We gotta
Rob.
vote from-
Awesome.
Thanks online. I'm ending the call now.